Hi everyone, that's Black here, and welcome back to my game corner. How are you doing today? Because I'm doing absolutely fine. Today I'm going to talk about a game many of you already love. In a way, it's probably strange to review something that many of you, if not everyone, already know about. A huge number of my subscribers came from the video about the fan game for this game, but actually I think it's important to do reviews on popular games as well. In any case, welcome to Pizza Tower. It's been my favorite high-speed platformer lately. The dynamic gameplay attracted me from the very first second. To be honest, I don't remember how I got to know this game. One day it just appeared in my life and took its place among my favorite games for a long time. I even participated in some events, look! In general, Pizza Tower has been in this world for 2 years now, and today is the second anniversary of the game. And yes, I specifically prepared this video for this date. Let's start with what the hell is Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower is a fast-paced platformer inspired by Huh? What? They deleted the name of the game they were inspired by. Nintendo? Yeah, apparently Nintendo didn't want the name of their game to be used in the description of Pizza Tower when the game was ported to Nintendo Switch, so they deleted it. Funny. Anyway, I know what inspired this game, so Nintendo can't hide it. But in general, no kidding, it's pretty sad that the name of the game that inspired the project had to be removed, although such an outcome was expected. So, developed by Tower the Pizza and released on January 26, 2023, the game quickly gained huge popularity and attracted an awful lot of attention. Everyone who could played it and even tried to uncover the dark side of the game, which, in fact, wasn't there. To be more precise, I think it was more of a joke than it really mattered to the plot or something. Speaking of the plot, it's very simple and direct here. We play as an Italian pizza maker Peppino, whose pizzeria went bankrupt. And now some dumbass from the neighboring tower wants to level the pizzeria with the ground. It would seem that there's nothing to lose, the restaurant doesn't pay off anyway. But for Peppino, it's probably his whole life, so he doesn't find a better solution than to break into the tower, smash everyone there, and most importantly, the guy who got to him. And yes, don't ask why our main opponent is a big pizza, by the way his name is Pizza Face, and why do bosses, and yes these are bosses, look like this. Believe me, this game really likes to be not serious at all. In general, that's the plot seed for you. What about the gameplay? Well, let's start with the fact that the whole game is divided into 5 floors, each of which has several regular levels and a boss fight at the end. I believe that the floors are united by some kind of basic theme, like Wild West, vacation, big city, horror. I don't know what the first floor should mean, but judging by the levels, could there be different eras? Yeah, most likely. This is not the only special feature of the game. Different features and abilities will be waiting for us in each new floor. For example, in Wild West we can turn into a ghost and ride sausages. Yeah, that's funny. In fact, each level has some kind of feature, it's just not always the ability for Peppino himself. So in Blood Sauce Dungeon, for example, burning lava lakes are waiting for you, which will also set your ass on fire if you get into them. In addition to all the obstacles on the levels, there are also enemies that can be killed either by picking them up and hitting them, or by running past them at speed. Speaking of which, Peppino has 3 types of speed, first, second and third. Depending on how long you run on a flat surface, Peppino will run faster and faster. At the same time, he can climb walls at maximum speeds. Each level is a huge platformer section that you need to run through to the supporting column, push the column and run back before everything collapses. In fact, even at the end of the timer, life will not end as it would seem. It's just that Pizza Face will come to the level. As I understand it, this guy has a practically adaptable speed. I don't even know if it's for a creepy effect or just for fun. In general, after the timer ends, Pizza Face will chase you until you either escape or he catches you. And yes, as you understand, now you need to run back through the level. Cool, right? Actually, I'm not quite right. You won't have to run through exactly the same corridors as before. Often the games will direct you in the other direction and along other routes, which is often confusing, but very interesting. Among other things, there are secrets, toppings, and a treasure on the levels. Let's start with the treasure. There is a janitor at some place on the level who can be picked up as a part of our small team. After that, you need to take him to a special door, which he will open and let you pick up the treasure. This is just a decorative thing that shows your ability to navigate in panic situations, because usually you will have to open the janitor's room while the timer is running out. Just kidding, those treasures have a little impact on the plot, but they're still unnecessary to collect. Most often they're in a prominent place, and there are not as many problems with them as with secrets. Secrets, of course, are hidden. From time to time you will see such eyes here and there. These are the secrets. By themselves, they represent a small piece of the level, where abilities from the level are often used. Collecting them at the level is not required, but if you want to get the highest rank, then good luck. No, I'm serious, good luck. What? Oh, right, I didn't tell you about the ranks. The game has a ranking system. Not only is the time it takes you to complete a particular level counted, in general this is not important only for the final result of the entire game, but at the end of each given level, you'll be also given a rank. The rank consists out of maximum combo, all toppings, secrets, and treasure, as well as the second lap, which we will be discussing later. The highest rank is the P rank, or the perfect rank, which is extremely difficult to obtain. It requires excellent knowledge of the level and excellent ability to navigate locations. And the most important thing is to move fast. As I said earlier, Pizza Tower is a high-speed game. That's the whole point. At high speeds, you will have to turn around, duck, jump over obstacles, and climb walls. On the screen, you can watch me suffer as I try to pass the second level of the game to get the P rank. The second, Carl! And no, of course there are simpler levels than that, but there are also more difficult ones. In general, it's difficult. It's really hard. Unfortunately, I have not been able to master all the levels to the P rank even now, 2 years later. On the other hand, I don't really want to. I still have one level on P rank and the boss fight. Now I'll tell you about the second lap. The second lap is like an additional challenge. In fact, after passing through a special portal, you will find yourself at the beginning of the escape, and you will need to run back through the level again. Be warned that the timer does not restart. Peppino is not the only playable character, and I'm not just talking about the main characters. We'll talk about playing as Noise later. On some levels, we will be given control of a duo of Peppino's friends. This is Gustavo and Brik the mouse. The gameplay for these two is significantly different from Peppino, at least that's how it feels. Brik and Gustavo can climb walls, for example, and to knock down enemies, Brik will need to be thrown at them. In short, yes, something like that. Playing for the guys is not only hard, but also extremely inconvenient. And why would they be added at all if two only appear on a couple of levels? I didn't understand this from the very beginning, but as a small difference in gameplay would work. The game also has a parry taunt system. There is also a super taunt that kills all the enemies on the screen. A simple taunt parries the enemy's attack and kills them, except for the bosses, of course. Some of the taunts are Easter eggs to different memes too. Speaking of bosses, At the end of each floor, there will be a boss whose gates are closed until you pay a certain amount of money to Mr. Stick. In short, until you collect a certain number of toppings. The bosses themselves consist of two phases, with the exception of Fake Peppino and Pizza Head. The first one is needed to familiarize you with the boss attacks. The second one repeats the first one, but faster. Fake Peppino and Pizza Head just has a lot of different phases, during one of which he sends all the previous bosses at the player, but in a more simplified variation. And Fake Peppino, well, in general, more about this thing later. He deserves special attention. Oh, and to get the P rank for those, you need to pass the boss without taking damage. That's all. Yes, it's not as easy as it sounds. Now let's talk a little about the bosses themselves. The first boss is Pepperman, in fact a big pepper with the same big ego and a special craving for art. It will either charge at you or jump around the arena like a ball. Meanwhile, various creations of this narcissistic jerk will appear in the arena. After defeating him, he will shrink and start dodging you until you catch him and finish him off. After that, the player receives a key to the next floor, the theme of which, I remind you, is the Wild West. Oh, my favorite level of this floor is the fast food saloon. There is wonderful music and a fun way to collect toppings. And there are cows on some levels here too. Anyway, since the theme of this floor is a Wild West, then the boss should be on this topic. I present to you Vigilante. And yes, it's literally a lump of cheese in a cowboy hat that's not ready to fight you until you pick up a gun. Yes, you can only hit him with a pistol. To be honest, I have no idea how people get the P rank on this boss, because one of his attacks make me hate him just a lot. In general, this whole battle is literally bullet hell, a nightmare that I don't want to remember. The only boss I'm literally stuck with. I don't fuck up anyone but him that much. It's just damn nasty, isn't it? And that's considering the fact that he's not pranking and messing up with the player. Hey Black, so there is a boss who's messing up with the player? Yes, and this is just the next boss. Noise. My most favorite character of the game. I love this gremlin. He's such a goofball and generally super cool. Okay. Let's take a closer look at the battle with him. Noise is a prankster, and this is not a fucking joke. From time to time, he'll change his usual pattern of attacks, and in general, his attacks will be randomized. And believe me, once or twice you will definitely make a mistake and fall for his bait. Moreover, Noise also records what is happening on camera. Because he's a showman. Yep, Nose is like a famous star. This guy has a skateboard too, and he throws bombs and also teases the player at the beginning of the battle. Attentive viewers might have noticed that at this moment the Noise is flashing, which means that he can be damaged. And yes, it's possible, but it's extremely difficult. I've only been able to do this once in my all-time playing. But it's possible, take my word for it. In short, he's funny. At the end of the battle, the game won't even let us finish him off. Why? Yeah, well, because his girlfriend Noisette will do it. The charming creature, by the way, has her own coffee shop, which can be found as a secret on the next floor. Oh, by the way, there are small secret places here and there on each floor, but there are purely Easter eggs that you can open and look at. By the way, here, for example, is a room with characters that were in the old versions and were not included in the final game. And here is Noisette's coffee shop. In general, yeah. Moving on to the next floor. Everything is a little more interesting here. Firstly, the theme of this floor is Big City. Perhaps this is the most unpleasant floor of all. There's not a single level here that I like at all. They are all complicated, nasty, and dreary. And the first time I played, I didn't even want to keep playing, because, well, it was too complicated. But okay, I figured out the levels somehow. Oh, and by the way, look, This green stuff is not just an enemy, it's a special enemy. Killing him once will kill him forever in the current save file. And you will incur the punishment of God, because how dare you at all? In short, do not touch Snotty, and be careful while running around the location. The floor boss will be a mystery until you enter the arena. After entering the boss room, Peppino vs. Peppino will appear on the screen, which will most likely puzzle you a little. But I already spoiled everything earlier, I'm sorry. This is Fake Peppino, a silly creature who loves fooling around both alone and with a bunch of Peppino clones. But Fake Peppino repeats everything after the original, crookedly, but he tries. The fake will attack, picking you up and throwing you. Hitting you from above, it's more accurate to say that he jumps like a frog, but that was a reference to that, I think. Making fun of you, and so on. This boss is confusing at first because, well, how often do you have to fight your own self, huh? And now there will be those who will say that they do it every day. I didn't mean that. In general, you don't see this kind of topic very often, although I have a couple of examples of such copycats. After defeating the second stage of the fake, the floor will break and the chase will begin. This is the only boss that will end up having a chase sequence. Oh, did you think it was dying during the fight? Yeah, you bet. And in fact, despite the simplicity of the chase, it's sudden, and I really like it. In general, fake makes a huge impression the first time a player encounters it, given the fact that the intrigue is kept until the very meeting with it. In fact, this is a very cool trick, because despite the simplicity of the boss, it really comes as a surprise, and because of the panic that may appear in the player due to the unexpected change in the situation in such a sudden boss. In short, it makes you feel a bit confused, but this is also the boss's trick. Moving to the last floor, we encounter a horror theme. And yes, of course, there is an FNAF inspired level. It's kind of creepy. There are even jump scares here. This floor has the fewest levels, and one of them is generally referred to the level from the first floor. However, the boss of this floor is the final boss of the game, Pizza Head. But first, in the first phase, he will be a pizza face, of course. The fight with him is about the same as the other bosses, but this one will already have as many as 5 different phases. And in general, the battle with him is more epic. The battle itself takes place at the top of the tower. In the first phase, Pizza Face will throw several enemies and, from time to time, use a charge attack, after which he can be hit. After defeating this phase, Pizza Face's face will open and it will turn out that all this time it was just a robot with Pizza Head inside. So he's the main pain in the ass in this game. Starting from the second phase, the battle will go faster and bullet hell will begin. Not only does Pizza Head himself has a habit of throwing a bunch of all sorts of damage-causing particles at the player, but his defeated creation will also be on top, which throws gears. In the third phase, this monster will set all the previous bosses of the game on us, but in a more simplified version. The final 2 phases are simply a repeat of each other, but pass faster due to the fact that now you are not dealing 1 health point of damage, but as many as 4 per hit. That is, half of the health of one phase, to put it simply. However, after defeating the main enemy, the game does not end. The final runaway awaits us. I present to you my favorite, most unforgettable, one-of-a-kind level. The Crumbling Tower of Pizza, the longest and most fun escape in the game, where we have to run through all the floors, plus new places that we haven't seen yet, pick up all our friends and escape before the tower falls apart. The timer is important here, because when it ends, the level will end and you will have to go through it again. This level tries to use all the possible abilities, and there is almost everything that is used in the game, even golf. I love this level, really. This is my favorite level of the game, and I'm ready to go through it hundreds of times. Plus, there is awesome music. In the end, after the tower has collapsed, all the bosses will be outside, safe and sound. And if you have collected all the treasures in the game, you will also be able to restore the janitor's brother. After completing the game, the final judgment awaits you. In fact, this is just the final rank that consists out of the time it took you to complete the game and what you collected and opened. The verdicts are different for Peppino and Noise, of course. So, before we talk about the second playable character, I have to say that the game doesn't end there. When you open all the secrets, you open an additional level, Secret Locking. This level randomly combines all the secret levels in the game and is the largest level of the entire game. It's about 10 minutes. You can access it only after collecting all the secrets respectively. In fact, at first, this level wasn't in the game at all. It appeared in one of the updates. By the way, there have also been 2 events during the existence of the game, and I even passed one of them. Yeah. I just have skins from it now, and there were also some achievements. But now, as far as I understand, you can go back at the event only on Halloween time. Which is very sad, because I don't have any footage left. By the way, yes, it was a Halloween event. There was also a Christmas one, but I didn't go through it. In general, there didn't seem to be any achievements, and the event itself was somehow simpler or something. So, now finally about the Noise. Noise did not become the second playable character immediately, although it was previously planned as one of those. Later, this idea was removed as well as multiplayer, but then Noise was returned! Playing as him is very different from Peppino due to the fact that Noise, for example, cannot climb walls. Plus, instead of Brik and Gustavo, Noise himself will now be on their parts of the level. Otherwise, everything is close to Peppino, though Noise still feels really different in gameplay. His mechanics are different and he's much more active than Peppino, meaning he moves faster and his jumps are presumably higher. In all honesty, although he's different in gameplay, practically all the main gimmicks are the same or close to Peppino's gameplay. Hey Black, but if we're playing as Noise, then who will be the third boss? That's right, dear viewer, there really will be another opponent instead of Noise. Doise. His attacks are no different from the usual Noise, but the environment is different, and it's all weird. It's surreal and uneasy. In short, yeah, a little uncomfortable. After we bring Doise to 1 HP, as usual, they won't let us finish them off, but someone else will steal them off screen. Wait, is that Peppino? Well, okay. After that, if you have a desire to visit this boss again, you will find that he's dead. And no matter what, there will be no boss fight. And by the way, Pizza Head's segment with Doise won't work either, because Doise is dead. This is not the only difference between the characters from each other. Among other things, the ending is also different. On the final escape, Noise will pick up Noisette and their child, I suppose, and escape with them without taking the other bosses. After the finale, we find out that it was all kind of a movie by Noise. Actually, it's not surprising, he's a showman after all. In short, everyone's alive, healthy and happy. So, I liked this game very strongly. It's funny, but it took me a long time to get into this fandom. And as I said in the beginning, I don't remember how I met it at all. It seems that this just happened because at some point people started making creepy theories about what was happening in the game. I don't know if there is any horror behind it, but I don't really care. Mostly because I was concerned about the gameplay of the game. I really like dynamic games, as you already know, so I couldn't help but play Pizza Tower. There will be no pros and cons because I can't criticize this game, alas. I'm not really competent in the genre, friends. Moreover, I don't even know what to single out here. Just a good, fun and dynamic game. I advise you to try to play this game yourself if you like high-speed platformers as much as I do. Activity for a couple of warm evenings. And if you already played the game for long enough so you completed all the challenges and stuff, you can play some fan games like Sugary Spire or install some mods for the game. Pizza Tower community managed to make many interesting mods that differ the core features of the game or just make the game harder. For example, lap mods are always a fun thing to try for yourself, though I prefer to watch others do it. And there are also character mods that are also pretty fun. Anyways, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and write a comment if you haven't done that yet. Have a nice one. Bye!